As household finances are being strained and needs increase, out of school children are more likely to be exposed to risks like family violence, child labor, forced marriage, trafficking, and exploitation, including by responders. For the most vulnerable children, education is life saving. Not only does it provide safety and protection, importantly, it also instills hope for a brighter future. Continuing education through alternative learning pathways as soon as possible must also be top priority right now to ensure the interruption to education is as limited as possible. We urgently need to support teachers, parents, caregivers, innovators, communication experts, and all those who are positioned to provide education, whether through radio programs, homeschooling, online learning, and other innovative approaches. Well, we have a professor from St. Mary's, Mr. Ebenezer, where he is going to give us more insightful information. Mr. Ebenezer, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes, Mr. Ebenezer, I just want to know what are the challenges that students are facing from their point of view during this pandemic situation from online training. Like it's more stressful than classroom training. How does it affect children mentally and as well physically?
Uh, how do I mean? Which category of students would you like me to uh, speak on behalf?
Students in general, sir, how students are being effective since there is a lot of online training that is happening. How is it effective to children? How are teachers able to get them engaged into the classes, or how is it making difference through online training? What are the pros and cons of it?
Any given time, uh, I this is my opinion.
Yes, sir.
Uh, Online training is probably cannot match the offline uh, training in the classrooms. Okay, because there are so many hurdles. If you talk from purely from the education point of view, I would like to tell you that students, whether in schools or colleges, come to these institutions not only for some kind of a literacy or knowledge from the books. Because when we say education, it means that education in all the spheres of life, like it could be sports, it could be extracurricular, it could be co-curricular, uh, involving so many other activities, indoor and outdoor. The whole thing constitutes the concept of education.
Yes.
Okay. But when you go, see, under these compelling circumstances of prevailing COVID-19 conditions, I'm sure students are forced to stay back at home, and because they have to write exams, they have to be promoted to the next class and all that, and then the pressure of examinations is there. And in view of all these, many of the schools and colleges conducted online classes.
Yes.
Okay. This is because this happened sometime in mid-March. Uh, Most of the schools and colleges were almost completing their syllabus. Only a little bit was remaining. So to finish that off, many schools and colleges conducted online uh, classes uh, for a for a duration of about 15 days or so, and then they completed the syllabus and they prepared them for examinations. And if I have to tell you, there are institutions which have conducted examinations, tests. You can call them tests online.
Okay.
Okay, using different platforms. But the common platform for conducting classes was Zoom and Google. Uh, they are, as probably anybody knows, they are time bound. They are time classes, meaning they have time restrictions. Half an hour to 40 minutes class, and then quite often it so happens that these classes appear to be one-sided. The teacher teaches. See, it's not a classroom atmosphere, and therefore there is no personal contact with the students. There is no personal connect with the students, because the teacher often, not always, cannot see the students in person. And the students are at home. Probably they are in the company of neighbors, friends, and family members, and therefore they tend to switch off their video part and switch off sometimes the audio part also. And what a teacher left with is only teaching from one direction for a given specific amount of time per class. Okay.
Yes,
In these circumstances, see, it's a one-way thing. There is probably even if a student has doubts and he has to clear his doubts, ask questions, he will have to switch on his audio. And sometimes it so happens that the audios can be switched off from control center also. So if the audio of the students is cut off, disconnected, then there is no question of a rapport. There is no question of students asking questions and clearing doubts. So it's a sort of one-way drilling or giving information, and there is absolutely no practical approach to online oral teaching. That would have created a lot of dissatisfaction among students, because any demonstration that a teacher wants to do, that usually they are acquainted to doing it in the class, is not done online, unless you have a classroom atmosphere, you have a wonderful camera, and then you are able to demonstrate it on the board, and the students are able to see it at home. So unless institutions are equipped with this advanced infrastructure, it's difficult for students to get at least a percentage of the classroom fee during the online class.
Sure, absolutely. So I would also like you to answer, what about the psychological state of children in this state? What do you think they must be going through? As you rightly mentioned, home learning is stressful. Also, students are usually used to socializing or meeting with their folks, or hanging around in college somewhere. So everything is cut off right now, and all they're going through is online training. How do you think it's going to affect them psychologically?
Yeah. Man is a social being. He has to live in society. He cannot live in isolation. If he lives in isolation, he will develop all kinds of mental problems. He might run into depression. Now, leaving aside the academic part, confining students and parents and the inmates of a house to their own house for months together would have certainly resulted in a lot of mental pressure, and then the lack of freedom. See, this is something that children don't like. Children would like to be free, and that is precisely why you come across so many encounters at home. Parents say, no, nothing doing, you stay here, study. But the children would like to break that and then go away. This is their tendency. This kind of learning in a free atmosphere, see, learning, again, let me tell you, it is not classroom and textbook learning. There are so many things students learn when they go to schools and colleges, and all these things are deprived now. It is minus. There is nothing like that. Students learn many things in community. Students learn many things in when they are in the company of friends. Students learn many qualities like sacrifice, like sharing, like forgiving, and all these qualities they learn only when they are in company of their contemporaries, company of their group, of their age group. So when this is missing, and learning is really hampered, it's only partial. What they are learning at homes through online is only that which is there in the books. The other aspects of playing with the students and dining with them or spending time with them and then spending time in the library, and these things are they're completely missing on these. Let me tell you, these are the things which add to the health of the child, the mental health of the child. And if they are deprived of this, these social activities, games and indoor and outdoor, uh, uh, elocutions and quizzes and writing, all these things contribute to the complete growth of the child. And minus these things, I'm sure, and confining, and additionally they're confining at home and then making him listen to lectures, sitting, you have to constantly stare at the screen, either of a cell phone or a laptop or a computer, whatever. You can't, and that's also not healthy. Staring at a screen for such a long time, class after class is not healthy. Whereas the classroom environment is different. He is able to look around, he is able to talk to his neighbors, he is able to see, release his emotions, his whatever is pent up inside in a classroom atmosphere. But in the at home, online, they are deprived of all these. Secondly, the presence of other people in the house, parents, sometimes mothers and brothers and seniors in the family, would also join them in listening to the lecture, and then when they become a little what shall we say, critical about the quality of lecture and all that, students will further get depressed. Because often you come across, at least in school children, they have a lot of respect for their teachers, and then sometimes they estimate them, they evaluate them more than their parents, at least in some aspects. So they regard their teachers more than the parents, in which case if the parent interferes and then, there is a possibility at home. See, this further, discourages to children when they are at home listening to. So unless they are isolated, confined to a room, locked themselves up, that probably very rarely happens. So in the presence of these domestic disturbances and all that, the student is put to further pressure at home, and lack of concentration is another thing. There is probably not much of a satisfaction listening to a lecture online. So that these are some of the things that definitely contribute. See, isolation, lack of company of his age group, and then mixing and mingling, all these things are not there. So these are certainly going to act on the psyche of children. Secondly, there is a growing fear. There is a growing fear day in and day out, every hour on the TV, on any other news channel. You come across news telling us the spike in the growth of COVID-19 patients, and growing in double figures and triple figures, and it's just scary. And then people at home keep warning their children not to touch that, not to touch this, don't go near the lift, don't talk to a stranger, don't shake hands. So all these things have really put them in a sort of, they cornered them. So I don't think staying at home, listening to online teaching is any healthy practice as such, compared to going to school and then learning.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Ebenezer. That was very insightful.
I'm sure I answered your questions.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Right. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, you're welcome.
In this time of crisis, a well-rounded and effective educational practice is what is needed for capacity building of young minds. It will develop skills that will drive their employability, productivity, health and well-being in the decades to come and ensure the overall progress of India. Some countries will be able to increase their teachers' digital skills, Radio and TV stations will recognize their key role in supporting national education goals and hopefully improve the quality of their programming, understanding their immense social responsibility.